The following story is based on recovered data logs from the Starship Horizon Breaker, part of the Unified Stellar Coalition's Deep Space Exploration Initiative. The contents are transcribed and pieced together from audio logs, distress signals, and personal accounts. Some details remain fragmented, shrouded in mystery. What you are about to hear is a cautionary tale, a story of humanity's insatiable curiosity and its consequences when delving too deep into the abyss of the unknown. Space is vast and cold, a canvas of infinite darkness broken only by the pale glow of distant stars. The Horizon Breaker, a Coalition flagship, cut through the void like a dagger, its hull reflecting faint starlight as it approached its destination. On board, a crew of 42 scientists, soldiers, and engineers worked tirelessly, guided by a singular mission: investigate the anomaly known as the Crimson Gateway. The gateway was first discovered 3 months prior by an automated probe surveying the Charon Expanse, a desolate region near the galaxy's edge, orbiting a dying red giant star. It was a massive ring-like structure, nearly the size of Earth's moon, constructed from a material unknown to science. Its surface glowed faintly with crimson patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. The probe's sensors had picked up distorted space-time signatures and faint distress signals emanating from the gateway signals in a language that no Coalition database could translate. But what truly alarmed the Coalition was the wreckage. Surrounding the gateway was a graveyard of ships. Fragments of ancient vessels, some impossibly old, their designs unlike anything ever recorded, floated alongside debris from ships that seemed eerily modern. Among the wreckage were pieces bearing the insignia of the Coalition itself. Yet no such ships had ever been dispatched to this region. The implications were chilling. The Horizon Breaker was dispatched under the command of Captain Elena Voss, a decorated veteran known for her unyielding resolve. The crew consisted of a mix of military personnel and top-tier scientists, including Dr. Kael'Rath, a sinolinguist, and Lieutenant Commander Rena Solis, the ship's tactical officer. The journey to the gateway was uneventful, but as the ship drew closer, strange things began to happen. The ship's navigation systems faltered, time dilation effects were recorded, and the crew reported vivid nightmares, dreams of crimson eyes watching them from the void. Some dismissed it as nerves or the effects of the gateway's strange energy field, but others whispered about an ancient curse, a malevolent force waiting to be unleashed. By the time the Horizon Breaker reached the gateway, the crew was on edge. The structure was far larger and more intricate than initial scans had suggested. Its surface was a labyrinth of alien carvings, glowing runes, and interlocking mechanisms that defied comprehension. It seemed less like a structure and more like a living thing, its crimson glow pulsating in rhythmic waves that resonated through the ship's hull. Captain Voss ordered a full scan of the gateway. The results were perplexing. The structure was ancient, millions of years old, predating any known civilization, but its energy signature was active, almost as if it were alive. The distress signal grew louder as they approached, the language an incomprehensible blend of sounds and patterns. Dr. Ivers worked tirelessly to decode it, but the more he deciphered, the more uneasy he became. "This isn't a distress signal," he said finally, his voice trembling. "It's a warning." Despite his protests, Voss ordered an away team to explore the gateway. A shuttle carrying a dozen crew members was dispatched, equipped with advanced weapons and scanning equipment. As the team approached the gateway, the faint glow intensified, bathing the shuttle in an eerie red light. When they docked and stepped inside, the air was heavy and cold, despite the vacuum outside. The walls of the gateway were lined with what appeared to be murals, depictions of an ancient war. Giant, godlike beings, shimmering figures with elongated limbs and blazing eyes, battled against shadowy creatures that seemed to drip with darkness. The murals told a story of conflict and despair, of worlds consumed and timelines shattered. At the center of the gateway, the team discovered a massive chamber, dominated by a colossal obelisk made of dark matter. The obelisk pulsed with energy, its surface rippling like liquid. Surrounding it were pods, hundreds of them, each containing humanoid figures in various states of decay. Some appeared ancient, their bodies reduced to skeletal remains, while others looked disturbingly fresh, as though they had only just been placed inside. As the team approached the obelisk, the gateway came alive. The obelisk emitted a deafening hum, and the entire structure began to vibrate. Crimson energy shot through the walls like lightning, and the pods around the obelisk began to crack open. The figures inside stirred, their eyes glowing with the same red light as the gateway. One of them, a towering figure clad in jagged armor, stepped forward. Its presence was suffocating, its gaze piercing through the away team's helmets. It spoke, its voice resonating in their minds rather than through the air. "I am Kael'Rath, Warlord of the Eternals," it said. "You have awakened me from my prison. For that I grant you a choice: serve me or be consumed." Panic erupted among the away team. Some opened fire, their weapons discharging bolts of energy that dissipated harmlessly against Kael'Rath's form. Others fell to their knees, clutching their heads as visions flooded their minds, visions of alternate lives, of choices unmade and regrets undone. Lieutenant Solis, who had led the away team, saw herself standing on a lush, green planet, a world she had once dreamed of colonizing before the Coalition turned her into a soldier. Dr. Ivers saw his wife, long dead, alive and smiling, her hand reaching out to him. Kael'Rath fed on their despair and longing, offering them what they desired most in exchange for their loyalty. But Captain Voss, watching from the horizon breaker, refused to abandon her team. She ordered an emergency retrieval, and the away team was pulled back to the ship just as the gateway began to destabilize. The return to the horizon breaker was far from a relief. Kael'Rath's influence had followed them, seeping into the ship like a virus. The crew began to experience fractures in reality. Soldiers reported seeing themselves in alternate timelines, versions of themselves who had made different choices, taken darker paths. The ship's engineer, Jarek Kin, was found speaking to his deceased brother, a man who had died years earlier in a mining accident. The line between reality and illusion blurred. Time became fluid, looping back on itself. The crew discovered logs of conversations they hadn't yet had, records of battles they hadn't yet fought. And through it all, Kael'Rath's voice echoed in their minds, whispering promises and threats. The only way to stop the madness, they realized, was to shut down the gateway. But doing so would require severing its connection to the dying star, orbited, a process that would unleash a black hole capable of consuming nearby systems. As the crew debated their options, Kael'Rath revealed the truth. The gateway was not built to imprison him. It was his creation, a last-ditch effort to contain the Eternals, a race of godlike beings capable of infinite resurrection. But the gateway had been corrupted over millennia, its purpose twisted. Now, it lured ships into its grasp to sustain itself, feeding on their crews' despair and fractured realities. "If you destroy the gateway," Kael'Rath warned, "you will doom countless worlds. Leave it intact, and it will remain a beacon of hope, a prison for the Eternals. But know this, the price of mercy is vigilance. Leave and your descendants will face what you cannot." Captain Voss faced an impossible choice. Destroying the gateway would end the immediate threat, but at the cost of countless lives. Leaving it intact would mean dooming future generations to face the Eternals. In the end, she chose sacrifice. The Horizon Breaker deployed its remaining arsenal, targeting the gateway's connection to the star. As the structure collapsed, the obelisk shattered, releasing a surge of energy that tore through space-time. The crew barely escaped as the dying star collapsed into a black hole, consuming the gateway and everything around it. But Kael'Rath's final words haunted them. "You cannot destroy us," he said, his voice echoing through the void. "We are eternal, and one day you will call upon us again." The Horizon Breaker limped back to Coalition space, its crew forever changed. They carried with them the weight of their choices, the memories of lives they could have lived, and the knowledge of what they had unleashed. The black hole remained, a dark scar on the galaxy, a reminder of the Crimson Gateway and the horrors it contained. And somewhere, in the depths of space, the Eternals stirred. End transmission.